Hello race fans, and we are back with another virtual stream. Shout out to Callum on that one. Sorry Ben, I was asked to do it. And how is everyone today? Ben, are you doing well?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, just doing some qualifying, I guess.
Exactly, so very exciting watching practice. It was kind of close, and then Jason, you just came through with an amazing lap and went a second ahead of everyone.
Yeah, sort of set the first banker time, and then went out like right at the end of the session. Caught a bit of a clean track, so yeah, expecting to see some good lap times.
Yeah. So for the first time in a stream, we have Jason, who is currently leading the championship. We also have Ollie, Thomas, and AJ. So 4 people who are very consistent and known to win races, and I'm very, very excited to see Jason go up against Thomas and AJ for the first time. It's going to be a three-way battle for the lead. That's what I'm calling.
If there's no Spinellas, I'm expecting some close racing.
So, of course, this is a big leap from what we're used to competing in. This is Formula Renault. And Jason, is this a qualifying lap?
Yep, just starting one now.
Okay, so I should probably leave you to it because you really do need to concentrate in these cars. The second you stop concentrating, as Jason said, you Spinella off the track and back to the pits you go for another outlap to try and get a qualifying lap in. And already we're seeing battles on the track between Bongo. Having a bit of a rough start there, so Spa is not typically a track that's known for grouping up and struggling to find space, but obviously Bongo's managing to find a bit of traffic on the track. And although the front wing is missing, it is just cosmetic. We do not have structural damage on. I don't actually think anyone would finish this race if structural damage was on.
Nope, definitely not.
I think this is probably one of the first times that anyone has actually driven an open-wheeled car on this game, especially in a competitive format. So, not to name any names, but I might be looking at Joel further down the grid, who, was involved in the bumper cars that took place at Le Mans last week. So we know what they like to get into. We know the trouble that they can cause. Staying out of trouble from the leaders, I must say. They were respecting the race. And today we're going to be racing for 15 laps. So I think it was a 25-minute qualifying session. That will then lead us into a 15-lap race. And the first time has been set. First 2 times have been set by Ollie and AJ, but that's very far off of their pace from practice. They were in the sub 2-minute times. And I'm trying to decide whether I do go for the French pronunciation of some of these track corner names. I did spend a bit of time trying to learn them as we're now in Bouzel.
Right, I'm going to head out for a out lap now because I just got that lap time invalidated. After trying to take over, I think it was Ruben.
So
Caused a little bit of a blockage.
project cars always being an absolute nuisance when it comes to track limits and what's allowed. But you know, the track's the track. If you go outside, rules are the rules.
Yeah, no second chances here.
So we're gonna miss La Source, the hairpin, but we will come back to it and we'll follow Jason through as he will probably go very quiet at the end as he needs to concentrate. So Jason, please talk us through the beautiful Spa circuit.
Right, so obviously coming out of the first hairpin, big DRS zone up to Eau Rouge. The thing about these cars is you can take these flat, but if you're on DRS throughout the corner, you know, obviously you lose the back end downforce, so you've got to snap it on and off by the time you actually get up the hill. I think someone just went into the barrier ahead of me. That makes me very nervous. Right, heavy braking zone down to around 3rd gear when you see the curbs. Nice and easy through the S's, then power out. Nearly losing the back end there. Right, first hairpin.
You've got to be really patient through there, haven't you?
Yeah. And also on this left-hander, you can't push it out wide to the right because that curb is notorious for catching your rear wheel and spinning you out. Nice long left-hander. Dab of brakes on the entry, but keep it flat. Second complex. It's quite manageable there. Third gear all the way. Now as we head up to the next high-speed part of the circuit.
Careful not to run wide.
Big
onto that
DRS
gravel.
zone. Yeah, definitely. I think it's if you put like a third of your car over, it will invalidate your lap time. So that's another place where it's obvious you need to change the DRS setting to off so you don't actually lose the rear end. Right, final chicane. Got to be really patient here. Really easy to spin out, and especially on that overrun. And then it's a big DRS zone up to the first corner.
Which is, of course, La Source. So now Jason is going to start his qualification lap. We might stick on board. We might see if there's someone else we can find. But currently, Ollie is topping the timing sheets with a sub 2 minute lap time. Doing an amazing job. And that's a ghost of car upside down there. Not phasing Jason as he goes through Radion.
That did scare me quite a bit.
Okay,
I was like,
maybe
hang on
it
a minute,
did.
is that ghosted or not?
The beauty of virtual racing. You're not actually going to hit anything. And Thomas is claiming second spot with AJ third. So Jason is yet to put in a competitive time. So this is definitely why he's going quiet. We're going to follow him into Bussell. And this is a brilliant technical section. Double gauche, as the Belgians call it, which basically means double left. And you can tell why. And then through a very difficult complex. And then this is where you make or break the lap time because it is such a long straight. If you get it wrong out of Stars of Volt, you'll be regretting it the whole straight, and the DRS is open. Reaching up to maximum speeds of, where are we going to get to, 178. Going into Blanchimont, DRS down. And then into the chicane. And I'm sticking with Jason because I'm excited to see what this lap time is going to be. Where will it put him? Anticipation. And that does put him, wow, a 158.02. That puts him a second and a half clear of Ollie. And I think...
Oh, that was a lap and a half.
I'm glad we stayed on board with you for that one. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I see there's a couple corners in the midsection of, like, just the end of Sector 1 there, where I can sort of take it flat, but just not have the confidence. I definitely can, though, so I'll probably head out, probably see what everyone else is going to do first, and then head out in a bit.
Well, I've just been on board with Adam, AJ, and as he came across a back marker, he lost the rear end and span. So I don't know if he's going to continue with that lap, whether it was an out lap or not. 15 minutes remaining of the qualification. And Ben, you're yet to set a lap time. Is everything okay?
Just about to. 6th, damn it.
That's a very respectable time. That's put you right into the midfield. That's exactly.
I'm feeling better this week, alright?
This midfield is actually really close. Like, you know, all within at least 2 seconds of each other.
And once again, just to reiterate, this is a competition open to all abilities. We have people with a full racing setup to just people like me who have an Xbox controller, dwindling around the track, trying to do their best. Namely just staying out of trouble most of the time. Martin going through the chicane complex, currently in 5th position. Can he... Oh, and he loses it. Lights up the rears, as Jason was saying. So you really do need to be patient coming out of chicane.
I think that was me.
Well, it was definitely Martin, but
Was it? Oh, wow, I did exactly the same time as you as I was going through a chicane.
and Alfie's managed to put himself up into 5th, so that's dropped Martin down a little bit. And I wonder if anyone's got what it takes to beat Jason's time. Of course, the race does start with the first corner of La Source, so anything can happen on the opening lap. Who is going to try and be a hero and win the race on the first corner? Because we all know someone's going to do it.
Do we want to bet on who is it going to be?
I don't think we should. I think we should give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Everyone's going to keep it clean. It's going to be amazing. Or it could end up like Spa where Fernando Alonso goes flipping over the bonnet.
Very nice.
Who knows?
I think I might increase my downforce for the race, just so I get some, just so I'm not, better safe than sorry.
Well, that brings a question actually. So, Jason, is now a good time to talk to you? You're in the pit.
Yeah, I'm just still in the pits.
So,
Vibing.
is there parc fermé on this race? Can you alter your setup between qualifying and the race?
No. The pit strategy that you get is very limited in what you can do. You can only really adjust tyre pressures. There's no like, if you go into the race, you're pretty much set on that strategy and set up. So it's something to think about before going in.
So you can have a setup for qualifying, change the setup during qualifying, and then that will take you into the race?
Yeah, pretty much. On the start screen for the race, you can adjust your setup and strategy.
So there is the opportunity to have 2 different setups effectively for a 1 lap pace and also a race pace.
Yeah, pretty much just dump a load of fuel in it.
And now we're still on board with Martin, going back through the chicane. Can he keep it tidy? He does. And will that bring him up the standings? I always get caught out by how far away that timing line is, but no, that was 3 seconds down.
I'll be right back.
And Martin stopping at the source, going back to the pits. So let's get on board with Thomas, who had a terrible race at Le Mans, really, because he was set to win it, qualified on pole, got a 2-second lead, and then lost it going through Indianapolis, which really he just kept going backwards from there. So he's out for redemption this race, and it looks like it's going to be a proper battle between, well, all 4 of you really. Jason, Ollie, Thomas and Adam.
Yeah, I mean they're split by a second between them, second to 4th. So.
And in terms of their long runs, I mean, we've all seen anyone. I say anyone, that's a bit far, but most people are pretty good on a 1 lap, just concentrate. But over the course of 15 laps, you start to lose that concentration. The tyres start to slip. And you get caught out.
I'd expect to see a pit stop for tyres. I mean, that's what I'm probably going to do. I'm probably going to put enough fuel into last, and then maybe, depending on if I've got a big enough lead, or if the time calls for it, I'll pit for tyres. But that's it.
So Harold still yet to set a time, so maybe they're struggling with track limits. They are fueled for 50 litres of fuel, so they've got. What's that? That's almost 7 laps on board. Taking a really rough guess there.
Yeah, to be honest, you can hold enough fuel, in the car, so you won't ever need to pit. You can stretch the tyres out, but your pace fall off is going to be massive. And I'd expect to see some people struggling on the initial laps with putting enough fuel in. Mainly because of how it affects the weight balance of the car, and obviously your top speed's lower, your cornering potential is much lower. So,
well,
I'm going to have to.
Speaking of finishing with enough fuel, Thomas absolutely timed that to perfection. Finished with 0.7 litres on board and put himself into 2nd place, only 1.2 seconds now behind Jason's blistering time. So let's see if he can do anything, make any last alterations to the car, as Ollie's now dropped down to 4th with AJ getting to 3rd as well. The times are falling, the lap times are starting to fall. They're catching up, Jason, as you've been sitting here very patiently waiting in the pits for the...
Yeah, I've been watching them on the monitor, seeing seeing what's good, really.
So, are you trying to learn from other drivers? Is that something you can do in this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, watching on boards while you're in the pits, you know, you sort of size up the competition, really. When you look at the sector splits and stuff after practice or something, and you see that they're maybe faster than you in a certain sector, so you obviously need to watch on board with them to see what they're doing. Maybe it's a different line, different gear. So, yeah, there's some strategy in that.
And it is a virtual race first for us. We are using DRS, and it is unrestricted, which will make things incredibly exciting because going down the Kemmel Straight, as we're now watching Ollie on board, there's going to be some brilliant overtakes going into this chicane complex. And the really interesting part, if they get it wrong, because it's an open-wheeled vehicle, Project Cars 2 is kind of known for the vehicles flying off the racetrack, so
That's an understatement.
we're going to see either something spectacular in terms of racecraft or something spectacular in terms of glitches. Either way, it's going to be something funny to watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and head out and see if I can do any better. I mean, obviously, like before the races and stuff, we obviously go into like time trials and stuff where it's just like one lap shootouts on like a solo mode offline. And on there, I managed to eke out a 57. So it's just trying to figure out if the pace is actually there to do that. But you know, in that mode, I think Ollie has now beaten his time that he set in that time trial mode, which is actually really impressive because a lot of the times you chase a ghost, so
You have a
obviously
marker
gives
as
you
to
an
where
edge,
to brake,
yeah.
where to turn in. You have a lot to help you. Alfie now up into 5th position. And the times are starting to deviate. There's a really good battle between Ben and Martin, though, only a 10th between the two. So they're really close in terms of race pace. And we're entering into the final rounds of this race. You need to get out around the 2-minute 10 mark. If you don't get out before then, you will not get the time to do another lap. Actually, that's being quite kind. You need really the 2 minutes 30, I would say, to do an out lap, because you don't want to take everything out of your tyres. So we haven't reached that point yet, but we're getting very close to it with only 6 minutes remaining. And let's talk about overtaking spots, because Spa is a really renowned circuit. Everyone adores it. You have a couple of interesting overtaking spots and some that don't really get used. So obviously you have the end of the Kemmel Straight going into Le Combe. Really fast, all about the braking zone. If you get it wrong, you're going to be flying off the track. You also have the entry to La Source, which is the first corner, and no doubtedly we're going to see some incidences on the first lap. I would not like to bet against it.
Very brave lunges.
Some very brave lunges. You also have entry point into chicane, the last corner on the circuit that follows the long second straight. And I also consider into Bruxelles another overtaking spot, which is after the chicane, after Kemmel Straight, if you know where that is, Jason.
Yeah, there's a lot in that mid sector. Like, I mean, dive bombing on the first right-hander is probably like the best bet to get ahead.
It's definitely considered the overtaking spot, especially in Formula 1. That's where they have the DRS zone. Of course, here it's up to the drivers. It's unrestricted, so we may see some really strange lunges where they've got the DRS open but have enough speed, and then all of a sudden they go around the corner and just lose the rear end because they've got no downforce. But the top 4 are all below 2 minutes, which is really, really good for the race. And Thomas is still out pumping in lap times. I think he's now focusing more on a race pace performance as he's fueled a lot more than he was previously. And he's also coming up onto some traffic. unfortunately, Joel didn't manage to change his Steam name, so Dr. Brown is Joel for anyone who's wondering.
Oh, Joel.
I mean, you know, ever since the first race where I said he was the underdog, he's always kind of lived up to that kind of tone, you know. He's always done something which has just made... He's endearing. I really do enjoy having Joel in this championship.
Right, I'm gonna
Last
deafen
week.
myself whilst I do this lap. You can watch me if you want.
Okay. Well, let's go on board with him. So he's currently in 9th, and he's pulled back a little bit, so he's getting some space between him and the drivers in front. Of course, you do not want anyone slowing you down. There is a yellow in La Source, but that has now been removed. So, going into the chicane. And Jason, how important is it, the exit of the chicane? Can you change your racing line to get a better entry speed into La Source, the first corner?
Yeah, I think the preferred line is really holding it out wide to the left and cutting across as straight as possible. Mainly because then you can use some of the overrun on the exit. But like first corner, or if someone's maybe up your inside on that run, yeah, that could definitely throw you offline.
Well, I think he'll be glad he muted himself because he ended up spinning on the first corner. So he will not be happy with that one, I'm sure. He'd be very frustrated. And the worst part is he hasn't got an opportunity to go back to the pits because we are out of time. So anyone, and someone's just exited the pit lane, I don't think they're going to get enough time. We're now approaching the 2-minute mark. That is the cut-off. Unless you're going to be able to do a Jason-style performance on your out lap, you're not going to get another lap in. So I'm now going to have to struggle to see who is on a flying lap. And I think Max was, but he got punted off the track. I have no idea what happened there. I don't know if he lost it or whether his DRS was open, but through Radion, he went flying off the track. And Ruben also on the grass, so I don't think they're on a flying lap. 3 people in the pit in the midfield, so they are out of qualifying. That is where they are going to finish. So Ben is going to desperately try and get ahead of them. Bongo Cat is still out on the circuit. Trying to work out if he is doing a flying lap as he goes into Double Gauche. And this is a beautiful complex. Keep the steering wheel locked. Don't twitch it. Just keep it steady. And the car will grip if you believe in it. Thomas is also in the pit, so no one is quite threatening Jason's pole position so far. And whilst I still have you with me for a minute more, is this going to be another circuit where pole position is actually an Achilles heel?
Don't quote me on it, but I think so. I think you have the outside line on the first corner.
Really, that surprises me. I definitely would have.
I'm not too sure though. I've not.
We'll find out. I'll make sure I have a look when we start. But so far, we still have AJ out on circuit. Currently going into what I believe is Campus, and then into Stavelot. And he does look to be on a flying lap, so maybe, just maybe, and I say that, he hits a bollard, and oh no, that's AJ out. So Ollie is the only contender to pole position. And he is on a flying lap, but I have no idea if he is up or down on his previous sector as we now go through Blanchimont. Hope it sticks, keep it flat. And that was very nicely done, and now we enter into the chicane. Keep it steady, keep it tidy, and oh, he went a bit deep. But can he save it? Has he got enough time in the bank? I don't think this will be enough to beat Jason. And it wasn't. He is now in 4th position, and I don't think he got a lot across the time quick enough. So, congratulations, Jason. I believe that is pole position for yourself. Is there anyone else out on track? Max is also spinning on the Kemmel Straight, so nope, that is a no from them. And where is Ben? Has he still got time in the bank? He is currently going into Bussell. And it does look like he's on a flyer, so let's stick with Ben. I think this is the only person left on the circuit trying to complete a qualifying lap time. He has 100 seconds left to do it. Which actually, I don't know if he'll get around the circuit quick enough. And it... So, let's see if we can work out from his race pace. Is he attacking this track? Sounds pretty steady at the moment. Maybe he's just getting another banker in. Drifts a little bit wide and he's on the gravel going through campus into start of the vault. No, that's taken all of his time away. I don't think this will be enough. And no, he's... What's the maximum gear? Is it 6th on these?
Yeah.
No 7th gear. Going through Blanchimont, kept it away from the apex there, but didn't run out too wide. Now going into the chicane. And he goes very, very deep, and he kept it on the circuit though, so maybe he can salvage this and at least get a lap time out of it. And is that going to be Ben coming across to complete qualifying, or... It is. So that is the qualifying session over. And
Damn.
as I was saying, it's a good job you muted yourself because we were watching you and you did go into a spin on La Source, so that was a terrible shame.
Oh, it would have been such a blistering lap. I also scuffed it in the last chicane. So if I got those two things right, it would have been like 2-2, 2-3 maybe.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 minutes before the start of the race now. Go and grab a drink if you haven't already done so and sit down for what is going to be a chaotic first lap of Spa and hopefully a brilliant battle between the top 4. And pole position is Jason, well deserved. A second ahead of the rest of the field, but will his race pace be just as good? Second place was Thomas. It's a roles reversal from last week at Le Mans, where Thomas is now starting on second. AJ starting third, the second row of the grid with Ollie alongside him. They are the top 4, and they are the 4 battling for the championship. Fifth, we have Alfie, and 6th, Bongo Cat. 7th is Joel with a really respectable performance to put himself in 7th. Alongside them is Max. And then we have Martin in 9th, and Ben finishing in 10th. Really struggled to get that final lap together. 11th is Ruben. Rowan is in 12th, and then to round off the 13 races we have today was Harold. So that is the qualifying. And now a little bit of quiet, a little bit of relaxation before we do start the race.
I'm into definite.
Now, can you move me into another chat or show?
Okay, so that's him gone, and Ben's going to deafen himself. The engines are revving, the lights are blinking. Let's go racing, and a terrible start there from AJ, I think that is. He got really caught down, and there is contact in the back of the field already. Around goes Thomas, around goes Jason, and Thomas is now up into the lead. But we are going through major contact at the back. The top 5 get away cleanly, and Jason and Thomas are side by side going into a Rouge. Is that Thomas going through on the outside? Jason on the inside. Jason gets the lead into Radion, and now down the Camel Straight they charge. It might be better to be in the slipstream because the DRS is open, and we can see Thomas gaining, and a major flip in the back, as I was mentioning the glitches. But unfortunately, Thomas was not able to catch to Jason, so maybe Jason running a little bit less slipstream or running less downforce, and a good battle as Alfie's gone up into 3rd. So what happened to AJ? They got massively caught out on the start of that race, got caught in all of the chaos, and now we have a good battle going on here between the 2 for 3rd position, and that is Ollie with a run as he goes through into Double Gauche. Can he keep it stick on the inside? Do they make contact? There's a little bit of contact on the rear wheel there. Will Ollie give the position back? He gets through. No one off of the track, so he made it stick. And Alfie there being really respectable going around the outside. That was good racing by the 2. And Jason is starting to pull up a second gap on Thomas already. Ollie getting a little bit bogged down, but hopefully catching up. But Alfie coming back at him as we now go into the long straight. As we look further down, so what are people doing further down? Ben is into 7th position. We have Joel up into 6th, so he's gained a position, and now Alfie really gaining on Ollie going into the chicane. So you can see the DRS is open. When will it close? A braking zone. And he's gained a lot. Ollie goes deep. That's given Alfie a bit of a run. And oh, he's going on the outside as they enter into La Source. Ollie has the inside line, which is going to give him the advantage. But if Alfie is sensible, he can use the extra space, get a better speed, and he is. He's going to try and cut down the inside as they now enter Eau Rouge. And he ducks back behind Ollie for a bit of a slipstream. Cuts across him. And are they side by side? No, he's just behind, but he is so tantalizingly close. And he's going to get the slipstream as they now go through Radion. He's going to get the slipstream all the way down the Kemmel Straight. And the DRS will be open as they now go in. Pick your braking spot wisely. Don't go in too deep. And Ollie just getting away a little bit there. Opened up a bit of a gap. So Ollie's mistake on the chicane let Alfie get up close. But going through Rouge and Radion, Ollie was able to pull out a bit of a lead. As we're now going to jump on board with Max chasing after Joel. And the second between the two, the gap is opening up a little bit. So this is the midfield battle that we were talking about. And this is only the second lap. And it's that Joel going out wide onto the gravel. That's going to give Max a chance as Joel comes back onto the track. He comes back on cleanly as I think Max may have braked a little bit there. But he's got a run going into Double Gauche. Does he take the inside or the outside? He thinks better of it because he knows that that's where you lose it if you're not smart. And he does run wide. So Joel, a very, very lucky escape for Joel there as he now pulls ahead. But again, going a little bit deep, and it looked like he was getting a little bit of wheel spin there, but he's kept it clean. So this is going to be a very interesting midfield battle, and I think that's allowed Adam to kind of catch up on the back there. Adam qualifying into third position, currently down at 8th, so he is catching the back of Max. This is going to be a brilliant thing to watch as we now have a lead driver coming through the back of the field, and we can already see that the front has started to open up a little bit. So Jason only with a 1.3 second gap to Thomas, and he did say he was going to be pitting, so this is going to be interesting. The pit stops are going to play a massive part, and I think that is Max gaining on the back of Joel there going into La Source. Can he keep that gap down as Joel runs a little bit wide, but Max follows, and that is allowing Adam to catch up all the while on the back of this pair. So here we go up the hill once again for the third lap of the race. Joel looks like he was going a little bit wide on the exit there, and Max is right up the rear. He has got every bit of speed he needs. He has got the slipstream, and that's him ahead of Joel going into Lecombe. But Joel's going to try to switch back. Does he make it switch? He parks it on the apex, and Adam's around the outside. Max has just got caught out there. Not sure if that was really good defending by Joel. Would need another camera angle of that, but he managed to dive right back the inside, park on the apex, make Max go the long way around, and that allowed Joel to keep the position. And he now got caught, and that's everyone spinning. I think Joel may have lost it there, which meant Adam collided, and oh no, it's all gone wrong. As I mentioned, the glitching. Adam is upside down. He is a turtle who is helpless. And oh no, terrible reverse there. It's all got a bit wrong, so we'll wait for this to sort itself out, and hopefully we'll go back to racing again. But that incident was all started maybe by AJ getting a little bit too close to Joel, and Joel braking conservatively with his defensive driving and just being tapped on the rear, sending him into a spin. But Joel is on the back of Bongo, and oh, as I say that, Joel goes onto the gravel, and well, 3 laps. We said there'd be a chaos, and I think we can now rest for at least a little bit of time as we now wait for Adam to catch up to the back of Joel again. Adam, a much, much quicker driver, but Joel was having some really great defensive driving there. I'm not sure if Max would have been happy with that, but there was nothing they could do. And Adam going to dive down the inside of the chicane. He makes it stick. Joel is around the inside. He gets the inside. The curb's riding him up. And oh no, the open-wheeled cars. He catches the rear wheel of Adam. But Adam does get ahead. And Joel still looking for that position. Still fighting. Will he dive down the inside of La Source? Never mind. He just hits the back of Adam regardless. And Adam not spinning too far. And is that Jason coming through? That isn't Jason. Who is that? Is that Bongo? I have no idea who that was. But we're back on board with Adam, and he has now got ahead of Joel. And it was Ruben on the back that we saw. Sorry, they had the same livery. So to Kemmel straight, Adam taking a defensive line, covering the inside of the track to make sure Joel does not dive up the inside. He saw what he did to Max. And they all get through nicely with Ruben right behind. And I think every car is missing their front wing near enough, so there's been contact all the way up and down the grid. And that's Ruben being very patient there, waiting for Joel to make a mistake. As we now see, Adam is pulling away. He has got a second advantage now, so he is out of this fight. He has claimed 8th position, and he's going to charge after Bongo Cat. But let's see if Ruben can battle Joel for 9th position. This is for the points. Every little point matters, especially when you're in the midfield, as bollards go flying across the camera. And that was Ruben getting very close, but he loses it, going through Fagnia. And that has allowed Joel to pull ahead, and now we can have a little bit of a breather, because Bongo is getting onto the back of Martin. Only a second between them, but Bongo making it very, very close going into the chicane. And he's going to try and set up a run into Eau Rouge and Radion, as that time is dropping between the two. So this is the battle now to watch. And as I've been saying all of this, Ben up into 5th position. So he has had an amazing race from further back on the grid. He stayed out of trouble, and that's given him 5th place, which is brilliant for him. That's the start he wanted. But we're only 5 laps in, 10 laps to go. And Bongo Cat cutting the grass a little bit there. And will Martin try and defend the inside line? He doesn't need to just yet. Bongo is not close enough to make that lunge, but Max is also gaining on the back of Ruben. I think we'll stick with this battle though, as there's only half a second between the pair. Into Bussell. A very, very slow, patient part of the circuit. And the challenge with these cars, the challenge with the Formula Renault cars, is sticking to the back of the car in front of you through the fast corners. As the slipstream from the car in front starts to affect your aerodynamics, you start to drift, you start to slip and slide, and that ruins your possibilities of sticking to the back of that car. So the gap's opened up a little bit now, but as we enter into the long straight, I think Bongo will be able to catch up again to the back of Martin. This is for 6th position. And I wouldn't like to hazard a guess as to when the pit stops are going to start taking effect. I'm not sure if it's just Jason who is going to be trying a pit stop strategy, or whether we will see others. A 15-lap race is kind of on the cusp between the two, and that's Bongo getting very close in a... Yes, I thought he was going too deep into the chicane. Tried to make a lunge up the inside. Thankfully didn't make contact, but that has given Martin a gap now. He is a second ahead going into Le Source. So that's given Martin a bit of breathing room. I wonder if he can break away now that he is probably out of the slipstream. So we'll leave that battle as Rowan and I believe that's Harold fighting for position, going through Bruxelles. And Harold made that stick, but Rowan looking to come back at him, thinks better of it, puts the brakes on. And I wonder if that position is going to stick, because Rowan's looking very stable following Harold. Let's just double check that's Harold. Yes, it is. And that is Rowan spinning, so Harold has ran away with 12th position. Rowan is now at the back of the grid. Such a shame. He might need to come into the pits. This might be the point. If you try an early stop strategy, try and get yourself some clean space on the track. As we bring up the track map, you can see the whole of Kemmel Straight is completely empty. So I wonder if back markers are going to be an issue throughout this race. But there is a large section of track there which you can try and drop yourself into. And let's go on board with our race leader. Let's see another lap of Spa as set out by Jason. Currently a 6-second lead, and then a 6-second lead between second and third as well, so it's evenly spaced between the front three. And I am by myself today as Ben's taking this very seriously, currently in 6th position, so Martin got the jump on him. And unlike the chaos that happened last race at Le Mans, where we had 3 drivers turning it into a bumper car showdown, we are actually experiencing some proper racing as Ben, trying to reclaim 5th position, gets a slide on going through La Source, but manages to hold it. Expertly done there. And he is only 6/10 behind Martin in front as we now go through Eau Rouge. We're starting to see some battles reheat as we're now entering lap 7 of the race. And only half a second between the two. So get the DRS open. That's going to start to pull you into the slipstream of the car in front. And his speed is gaining. He's gaining. Let's go onto the roof. Is he close enough? He dives down the inside of Lecombe. Does he make it stick? And it looks like he has. A brilliant dive on Martin. And that was textbook stuff there. He got the speed advantage. And that was beautifully, beautifully done. But Martin not saying enough is enough. Thinking of fighting back, but couldn't do it into Bruxelles. So let's now go on board with Adam, who has managed to find himself on the back of this battle. Only a second between them now, as you can see the 3 line astern. And I think that was a stopped car on the circuit, but we'll ignore that for now. As you can see, Martin is right on the back of Ben. And that's Ben spinning, Martin following, and oh no, Adam's just been gifted 5th position. He didn't need to fight for that one. Adam putting the pressure on, but really he wasn't involved. It was Martin and Ben taking themselves out. Ben coming off the worst of the 3. And Martin's now managing to run away from Ben with 6th place. It was just one little mistake, one little slide, too deep into the gravel trap. This circuit is so unforgiving. And whilst that was going on, Tom Bongo Cat was managing to catch Joel, I believe, once again. So let's see how this battle goes on. I think Bongo looking to the outside. Joel a little bit all over the track there, onto the grass, clipping the curb. Very nice and smooth through chicane. And Joel going incredibly wide, so that's going to bring Bongo onto the back of Joel as Joel's desperately, frantically trying to defend this position. Bongo going around the outside of La Source. He's going to cut back on the inside line and try and catch up, but no, he's gone wide, so maybe Joel can escape and not give Bongo a slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. As I think that battle is said and done, I think that's a little bit too far apart. And this is Ben trying to catch up with Bongo on the Kemmel Straight. So let's go back to the 2. Bongo, 0.3 of a second behind Joel. He has the speed. He has the space. Joel darting around the track. Is he going to defend? Bongo on the inside line, and he made that look simple, but can he slow it down? And Joel with a massive shunt up the rear. That was not sportsmanlike at all. But Bongo, thankfully, keeping it on the circuit. And he is now going to run away with 7th position. And whilst that's going on, that's brought Ben onto the back. But he has gone a little bit deep. So maybe not this lap. But Joel, unfortunately, his racecraft needs a little bit of improvement. Darting across the track, making more than one move. And then, as they entered into Lecombe, giving Bongo a nice little shunt, but he does seem to be quicker around this section of the track when he's not racing people, as he is somewhat gaining on Bongo in front. So I'm just looking at the Ruben having a lot of lap times invalidated there for track limits, so I wonder if that is a penalty coming his way. But Jason currently with the fastest race lap of a 1 minute 58.4. So sub 2 minutes during the race on race pace. That's really impressive. And I don't think we've seen anyone come into the pits just yet, as we've now hit the halfway point of the race. And as I say that, we do indeed have Ben coming into the pits. So his tyres were starting to wear out.
Stop.
Well, Ben, I've been on board with you. I've seen you've been drifting a little bit wide in some corners. So have a little bit of a rest. Enjoy the... have you got it set to auto pit stop?
Yeah, also. They're just doing my tyres and that's it. To be fair, I was in 5th and I was just hanging there and I just started to let my mind slip.
You were doing
So
such
I
a
gotta
good
get
job.
that
You
back down.
avoided all of the chaos, found yourself into 5th position, and it looks like they were doing a front wing change there as well. So even though it's just cosmetic damage, they do still
Yeah.
repair the car.
Alright, I'm gonna deafen before I get out of here.
Yeah, no, please do, Ben. Thank you for stopping by. And I know it's a virtual race, but a good pit stop there by Team Heppel. And, oh no, crossing over the white line. I'm not sure if he'll get a penalty for that. I'm not sure how strict the stewards are going to be. And is that Jason on the back of Ben? It is. So the race leader now coming up on the back of Ben, who has just pitted. I wonder. So Ben's now actually going to give Jason a lovely slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. That's going to help his race pace out a treat. Look at that. The speed difference between the pair. Going into Lecom, Jason's going to make this look easy. And Ben doesn't really trouble him because he knows that that is not the fight that he is in. Although I say that, but he actually comes back going into Malmedy. But no, he does stick behind. Okay, that was a battle that shouldn't really take place, as Jason is leading the race and Ben is back now into 11th place. So he is heavily reliant on other cars pitting to get himself back up into a points scoring position. 20 seconds he is behind 10th place, as Ruben was struggling there going off the track. So I do think it's time for people to come into the pits for a new pair of boots. And we started this race with 13 people. We have 2 retirees. I unfortunately have no idea who they are. But Adam doing a great job to get himself back up into 5th place. He was gifted it by Joel, but he has managed to keep it. And is he gonna be able to track down Alfie? There is a lot of time, 23 seconds between the two, 5 laps remaining. If you go by their qualifying performance, I don't think Adam has enough to catch up, but we will see as the race unfolds. The tyres are starting to play a major part in this race. So Ben came into the pits, only came in for tyres. He didn't want any fuel. He is fueled to the end of the race. And now we've joined Ollie going through the chicane on the main straight going into La Source. And he has had a very untroubled race. I haven't mentioned Ollie much at all so far this race. He's very much enjoying himself in 3rd position. He is making a habit of finding himself onto the podium. So through Radion and now onto the long Kemmel Straight. Get the DRS open, get your max speed as quick as you can. And this is where drivers get to breathe, get to have a bit of a rest, as it's a very long straight before Lecom. Slow it down. Picked his braking spot beautifully there. And now, as I say that, drifts wide. And I'm not sure if he hit a reset button there, but that brought him back onto the track very quickly as he got into a spin. And maybe a bit of the commentator's curse there. I better leave Ollie to it because that was very bad on my part. But Ruben now right behind Max. 0.2 of a second between them. Ruben running wide, but he keeps it on the track. And he doesn't lose too much time. Only half a second between the pair now. So I say that Max is pulling away. Into Blanchimont we go. And has Ruben lost the chance there to make a dive up the inside of La Source? I think he has. He cuts across the chicane. These cars do not enjoy those sausage curbs. The sausage curbs are there for a reason. But Ruben making the most of it, and he certainly has the race pace. Going very deep into La Source, but he gets it rotated nicely. And he ducks very onto the inside there. here we go. Ruben on Max for 9th position. As we're saying, the points do make a difference in the championship standings. And one thing that I don't think many people have considered, there is a point for the fastest lap time. So will we see anyone pitting at the end of the race to get the fastest lap? Much like we saw during F1 last week. So Ruben keeping it, maintaining the gap, making sure Max doesn't get too far ahead. He has gained time going through Bruxelles. But he isn't going to threaten on this lap by the looks of it. And now we're back on board with Bongo chasing down Martin. Bongo managing to get past Joel. And now he is fighting Martin for 6th position. Half a second between the two as Bongo reels him in. We're going through Blanchimont, now entering into the chicane. This is a chance for him to dive. Bongo looks for the lunge, but he does brake sensibly. He threatens Martin with a lunge, but both of them being very sensible going through there, and that has allowed Martin to pull away a little bit into La Source. So I wonder if Bongo was better just trying to keep it behind and then try a lunge up into La Source. But now he is going to have the Kemmel straight to try and track down Martin. Let's see what the distance is between the pairs. They now go through Eau Rouge up into Radion. And you can see the gap between the pair starting to shrink as Bongo reels him in. DRS open. Down to 4/10 of a second. Is it close enough for a lunge? 3/10 of a second. He goes for the lunge onto Lecombe. And Martin gives him the space but keeps the inside line and contact between the pair. 2 by 2 they went. And there was not enough room through Malmedy. And that has allowed Martin to keep the position. Bongo Cat's going to have to repose himself and wait for a second opportunity. I don't know whose fault that was. That was incredibly close racing by the pair. I think they were both entitled to the racing line. And I think that was just a point of 2 into 1. Does not go. So I'm going to chalk that up as a racing incident from a live feed, but I'd love to watch that back and properly analyse the racing. But Bongo's Bongo's falling away from Martin. So I wonder if he still has that pace or if he is nursing an injury there. And he is spinning! Bongo spinning through campus. Lit up the rears. So I think so far only Ben has stopped for a pit stop. I don't think we're going to see anyone else at this point of the race. Only 3 laps remaining. And I think this is going to be a one-stop race for a lot of people. So that's Bongo Cat going wide there. And we're going to go on board with Thomas, who, much like Jason and Ollie, has had a very peaceful race as we entered into the latter stages. Just making sure to keep it clean. And he hasn't had to fight his way up through the grid like he did last time. So the position, the decision to have a pit stop by Ben really hurting him there, as he is still in 11th place, was in 5th, and then he fell down the grid. And if you're wondering why there is a red symbol where their number is, that's because those people have received a penalty. So only 4 people so far in this race have not received a penalty, and that is most likely for exceeding track limits. As the race is quieting down, I am going to bring up the timing screen, so let's have a quick look. Jason with a 2-second penalty, Ollie has a 1-second penalty, and then further down the grid, the worst offender is Ruben with 7-second penalty. So actually, maybe with the lap times, Ben might be able to catch up enough to Ruben where that might take effect, and he might gain 10th position. So sticking on board with Alfie. Only 2 laps remaining now. And Alfie doing a brilliant job into 4th position. He is really taken to the Formula Renault cars. And this has been a great race for him. Down the Kemmel Straight we go. DRS open all the way. And I'm pretty certain Jason is just managing the gap between 2nd place now, as it has stayed at a steady 8 seconds for the majority of the latter stages. And both 1st and 2nd pulling away from Ollie with a 20-second gap, which is quite a bit over a 15-lap race. I had high hopes for Adam getting into the battle, but unfortunately he got caught out at the start of the race. I can't wait to go back and see what happened at the back of the field there. But he has done an excellent job to recover those lost positions. And he is chasing down Alfie, but with 37 seconds between the two, I think it would take a mistake on Alfie's part for Adam to catch up. So come on lads, let's see if anyone can get back up to a fighting position. Let's see if any more positions are going to change, and maybe they will as Adam goes off the track there, hits into the barrier. So I think we can definitely see throughout the field their concentration is starting to slip, and the tyres are slipping just as much. Alfie through the chicane there, and let's just bring up the track map to see how evenly split everyone is. And I think that's someone into the pits, but they're not showing up on my screen. So I'm very interested to know who that is. Or maybe it's a DNF actually, now that I think about it. So we have got people starting to group up going through the 2nd sector. I'm going to quickly try and see if I can work out who that is. So it was Thomas, and that might be Joel, I'm not sure. No, it's definitely not Joel. So here we go, the 2nd part of the track. And then that launches us onto this beautiful long straight. It's not as easy as it looks. With the DRS open, there are a couple of turns involved, and you can lose the back end and get sent into a spin. Whatever you do, make sure you close the DRS entering into Blanchimont, otherwise that will be the end of your race. And pick your braking spot wisely going into the chicane. I think Thomas would have hoped for a better battle, especially after Le Mans last week. But the race has been completed by Jason, and I always miss it! I always miss it! I need to get better. He's only just completed it. And the cooldown lap is on, so we're going to get some celebratory donuts. Maybe even some celebratory crashes as we actually look at it now. And I don't quite understand this, but it's showing Thomas only... or less than a second between the pair, or maybe that's because the timing screens go all crazy at the end of the race. And here we are, a symphony of donuts, as we have Jason, the winner of this race. 2nd place is Thomas, and Ollie once again back up onto the podium. He is making a habit of this. And Ben is glitched out, flying around. That's a very interesting camera angle, not seen before. So they have managed to make their way back up. I think that will bring an end to this race. The race will end in 95 seconds. Whew, that got very, very interesting at the start there. We knew there'd be contact. We knew that there would be chaos. And it didn't disappoint, as indeed there was, with cars flying through the air. But not only that, there was some good racing going on, especially in the midfield there. And Adam doing a beautiful job there, displaying how donuts should be done. So here we are. I'm wondering if Ben is going to undeafen himself. But here we go. So let's start to bring them in. So let's grab in Jason. Who do we need? We need Jason, Thomas, and Ollie. So let's start to drag them in now. So, hello Jason, I've just dragged you in. Hopefully you weren't in the middle of anything.
No, that's all right.
And I always forget, who is Ollie on this Discord?
Ollie is the green icon.
Thank you. No, that was perfectly said. Hello Ollie.
Hello, Gav.
Just
How are
bringing
you?
in, and let's bring in Ben because he is a part of this and he helps organise everything along with Jason. So,
It's in the chat as well, by the way.
was
It's
Adam?
Nico.
It's
sorry,
Nico.
Thomas is in.
Nico.
Okay, so I have now brought in the podium finishers and Ben, of course. Ben, unlucky, my friend, so unlucky.
I'm so salty. I'm so salty.
The decision to pit did not pay off.
Well, you know, it was just the Project Cars decides that 14 out of 15 laps is apparently the end of the race. So when I have two people I can overtake, which is kind of great. So
well, we'll move away from your salt. We'll let you stew in the corner for a little bit longer. So Jason, congratulations on another win, my friend.
Thank you very much.
How does that one feel? That one looked really good.
That was quite a consistent run there. I mean, my back could be in better shape. Sort of was sitting awkwardly because my wheel stand came like undone on the straight, so I did that back up. So that was fun.
Well, the perfect place for it to happen, though. You've got a bit of time.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
that straight. So a little bit of maintenance being done on the job, but very consistently done, and a beautiful race. You didn't have any troubles into the first corner. You managed to get away with it.
Yeah, we were wrong. The inside line is actually first place, which was nice.
Well, it's what you would expect. Finally, pole position on the correct side of the track. Who would have thought it? But someone who tried their best. Thomas, congratulations on the second place. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. I was hoping for the best going down to Eau Rouge, but just a little nudge sort of set me up for the rest of the race in second place. Comfortable second place, but
And
still not first, is
it?
it?
Was very comfortable. You managed to pull away from third. I think over a 20-second gap between there. You must be feeling a bit better after the Le Mans race, though, because that looked much more consistent.
Yeah, well, I've been outside. I've shouted into a pillow. I've punched some walls. It's fine now. I'm fine.
And I watched your video
hands-
that
hands
you
are
did
healed.
at the start of that. That was a very funny video. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I needed to take my anger out in a humorous way.
So, you've entered the championship. Do you think you'll be able to battle Jason at one of these other circuits? I think the next one's going to be Monza. Is that a track that maybe suits you better?
Monza in what, if I may ask?
Jason.
GTE class.
A win could be arranged.
Oh, don't tease us too
You never
much. Well, we'll move on to third place. And Ollie, again on the podium. We just can't get
thank
rid
you.
of you.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
So I don't know if you knew, but something happened to AJ at the start of that race there, and he plummeted down the back. Do you know what happened? What chaos happened?
Yes, I think he made contact with one of the cars from behind, so he got punted into the first corner, and that made him spin.
Because he did look like it. I believe he had a slow getaway at the start of the race, which really meant he got engulfed by the back of the pack.
Yes,
And
he forgot. He forgot to go into gear. So, unfortunate for AJ, and I do wish he was up the front because I reckon we would have had some good battles this
Nah, don't lie. You love the glory.
week. It would be good.
Oh dear. Well, congratulations, guys. It got very quiet at the end of that race as everyone started to break away from each other, but there were some brilliant battles midfield, and we weren't wrong. We were treated to some cars flying in the air. So
Oh yeah.
Spa, it delivered. It always does.
Did you catch it at one point where I think it was the first time we came up on back markers, and I think it was Harold and Rohan They just dumped each other in front of me. I was scared for my life.
I think I did catch some of them, but I'm not quite sure. Everything was a bit of a blur as there were battles going on throughout the grid. But congratulations, guys. Another race is done, and I'm looking forward to Monza. Back to the GTEs, you said, Jason?
Yes, indeed.
I'm looking forward to it. Me and
looking
Jason,
It's gonna be great fun.
me and Jason did a practice run on Saturday, and it went very well, didn't it, Jason?
Oh yeah. If it's a repeat of that practice session, then we're gonna have a very, very interesting time.
Yes, it's
Well-
going to be great fun to watch, Gav.
That's a brilliant tease for everyone. I think we should leave it there. So thank you guys for taking part. Again, for those watching, thank you so much for watching. It does mean a lot. Even though this is a bit of a rookie stream and something for fun, it's cool to know that people are actually watching it. And by the sounds of it, you're going to be treated to something special at Monza next week at 7 o'clock again. So please don't miss it. From Green Chungus and me, take care, everyone.